All right, guys. So today we have Mr. I call everybody Mr. Someone's like telling me I can't call people Mr. I'm like, no, I call everybody Mr. Bro. Mr. Jackson, Mr. Hollingsworth, whatever. So we have Mr. the one and only Jackson Hollingsworth, who jumped into entrepreneurship and e-commerce last February and already has a company worth over $1 million. And he may not even realize that yet, but I just know where the numbers with him, and it is actually true. So this is a guy who stumbled into something crazy, and it was unexpected, and I want to share with you how another journey exists to get to success on e-commerce, which is not through Amazon and not through starting your own company, but actually through acquisition. And so that's what we're going to talk about today with Jackson. What's up, brother?
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's take it back. Like, okay, you're 32 now, right? What was your first business venture of your life?
Let's see, probably a pomegranate stand at 6.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Why pomegranates? That's so.
They were in our yard, and I
alternative.
took advantage of that they were there in LA, and I was like, I'm gonna sell them on the side of the road.
Did it work?
So yeah, we sold like 20. It was great. I was
Okay.
like 6. That was a shitload of money, you know.
Yeah.
But no, for real, I think first actual business.
I mean, that's a real business, though. Look, I
Yeah,
know behind you have that
that's true.
citrus press right there. People
That's
squeeze
true.
pomegranates
you
with
could,
those.
you can go for it.
I mean, I'm
if you
serious,
really
bro.
wanted to go
we
for it.
empower.
I mean, you can make a
pomegranate
business
stands,
out of
bro.
literally everything. That's
we
true.
empower
That
pomegranate
is true.
stands at Zulai, so
Yeah,
I feel it.
that's
Okay,
fair.
but, yeah,
That's
okay.
fair. First business was I started with my family doing vacation rental management for beach people.
Okay, vacation commercial management. So you're basically managing Airbnbs, VRBOs.
Managing Airbnb, yeah, exactly. All that, start to finish, condos, houses, etc. Getting the rentals, getting them booked, managing the cleanings, maintenance, the whole thing.
Okay, now, what did you think of that? That business thing, that venture. How is that in terms of?
Not profitable enough to be worth my time.
Yeah.
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 A lot of work for not a lot of money.
Yes.
Yeah, unless you get really big, the margins are just so thin that it's like...
Yeah, and even if you're big, if you're doing the management part,
Correct.
the part where you make money is mostly
Own
flipping.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you own
Own
it.
or flip.
That's right.
Yeah.
You flip it,
Yeah.
cash flow, whatever.
Yeah.
But on
getting
management,
10% or 15% off the top, it's
yeah.
not worth it.
Yeah, and it's a bit crazy.
Yeah.
And there's very little if you do the best job on the planet,
Yeah.
and you do really well, what's the reward?
Like surviving to the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah.
It's a very thankless job too.
Yes.
Because really all you hear from customers are that I'm sad or I broke something or the window broke or well, this is dirty and whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty rough business. I would
All right,
never
all right.
recommend it to
Okay.
anybody.
And that was a family business. So did your family own the properties, or was your family just a management kind of company? What was it?
We started a management company together. So before that I worked for another management company, did really well for them, helped them triple their business in a couple
Wow.
years.
Wow.
Through a couple small hiccups that decided not to work out. So we were like, we're really good at this. We could just start our own. So we did. And we grew it very quickly to a fairly reasonable business. But again, even at a reasonable business, it's still you're working, 10 to 12 hours a day for barely what Walmart makes, or what a Walmart worker would make. So it's not worth the level of effort for how much you're going to get in return. Yeah.
So when you say reasonable business, how is that? How much? Is that? What are we talking about?
Maybe a couple $100,000 a year.
Okay.
Maybe.
On revenue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's painful.
And then
actually.
so instead of hiring people, you do the work yourself. So then you can take a lot
So
of
you
that.
get as much as you can. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So the
So
profit
then-
margins are technically a lot, but the whole amount is technically
Yeah,
not.
if you just get a job, you get a salary.
Yeah.
You could have.
Which is what I ended up doing. Yeah. That's what I ended up leaving for.
Okay.
Yeah. I was like, we've got it to a point where I'm no longer fully needed and I can do the things that my position was over, which is mainly marketing. I can do that part-time. So I'm just going to go get a 6-figure job with really good benefits just because. And then that worked. I did that pretty much immediately. And rest is history on that part.
Okay. And then so when how did you get interested in then going into the next venture? I guess, okay, so now you have a job, you're comfortable,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
okay, what happens next?
So I was at that job for 4 years. Quickly worked to the top of the area that I could get to essentially within 6 months. Like they were like, "Oh, let's promote that guy." Stayed there, just kept getting raises, and I was kind of like capped where I was going to stay, which is like maybe 140 a year,
Okay.
maybe.
Which is good. I mean,
Yeah, it's not bad. Not bad at all.
yeah.
Like that's a pretty comfortable place. I had unlimited PTO, yada yada. It was a good software company, etc. And then
That's downtown.
yeah,
Oh,
that's no before.
No before.
It was
Okay,
no
cool.
before. Yeah.
Excellent.
So I was doing really well there. The only route up was like being a director, and like that could work, but it'd be over like a couple years. You got to prove your blah blah blah, and it's a whole like hierarchy political climb. I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. And at that exact moment, a friend of mine reached out and was like, "Hey, I need like a number two to help me run my business. I'll match what you're making now. Come over, I'll offer you ownership, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "Hey, that sounds pretty good."
Okay.
So I was like, "Let's do it." So I left, was there for about a year, and
So hold on.
helped
What kind of
him-
business is that? Is that I didn't.
So that was an e-commerce business as
Oh, okay.
well, with a
Oh.
consulting spin and another marketing company and a retail. He owned a few.
Okay.
So he had a consulting company that owned a few or had hands in a few and was managing all of those as well. So that was doing well. The e-commerce business doubled in the time that I was there, which was cool. And his marketing company, I didn't have as much of a hand in at all, but I like kind of knew what they were doing and blah, blah, blah. He acquired another business while I was there as well, with my assistance. That was like a retail company that had a few different locations, and he was going to open up a few more, etc. Turned out I needed to be the leader, so I was like, I'm going to exit here and start my own thing.
Okay.
I had zero plan.
Okay, so hold on. Whoa,
Yeah.
whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, are you married yet at this point or no?
Oh, yeah. And
You're
a kid.
married. And a kid.
Yeah.
Okay, you're married with a child.
Yeah,
And you quit your day job without having income worked out.
that's right.
That's nuts.
My wife had a good job, but
Okay, fine. So
that could like
so you can cover
coast us.
almost everything. Yeah.
Almost
okay.
everything.
Okay.
Yeah. We had a little
Okay.
savings, so I was like,
I was like,
you
dude,
know,
this guy's nuts. This
we had a
guy's
little
psyched. We should just
saving.
walk out now.
We had a little savings that was like maybe a month or two, but I knew that I needed to hustle as quickly as possible. And I was like, I can't. Like, there are fundamental decisions that I would have made differently that would have probably seen different levels of growth, and I couldn't be the one to make that decision. So I was like, I'm
Okay,
gonna
so
move
you're
on.
saying so this company grew in about a year to double, which is
Close to
very
it,
good
yeah.
growth, right? That's very good growth.
Especially for a 7-figure plus business.
Yeah, I mean for any business, even if you're
Internationally
100K, even if- I
recognized,
mean whatever,
etc.
double in a year. If you keep that rate,
Anybody
you will,
does
you
that,
will
it's
be the
fucking
richest
great.
man on the planet if you
Sure.
keep that every
Yeah,
year.
yeah,
For
for
example.
sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, that happened, but you said, hey, you wanted to grow it faster or even better or more, and then you
Other
didn't have
ideas
decisions
for growth. Yeah.
Okay, and you
Yeah.
didn't feel you could make decisions.
Sure. Yeah.
Approximately.
Essentially. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you said, peace out. I'm gonna start.
Essentially. And I'm very, I tried to be as like amicable about that as possible, and whatever, left it on as good terms as I could. So it wasn't like an axe
Yep.
or anything. But I was just like, I should be the person calling the shots.
Okay. Hey,
Yep.
that's fine. You know?
Yep.
Oh,
And
then-
to me, once I made that decision, I was like, I can't actually work for someone else now. Like, now that that decision has been made, I'll just be miserable here trying to like be not in charge, and it'll be weird mentally. It'll be a very like, oh, I'm gonna like always have my attention on trying to like start my own thing, and it's gonna be weird, and I couldn't do that. Like my integrity level, I just can't.
Right. But you have now a history of making good decisions and doing well.
Yeah.
As opposed to like you felt that way right when you finished high school and you're like, I'm the smartest, I'm gonna do this.
Sure.
Probably wouldn't have been the right time.
Nope. I needed 10 years to like learn business really well.
Okay.
Yeah. Read a lot of business books, watched a shitload of YouTube on how to run a proper business, grow a proper business, where to invest money, what to look at first, etc.
Okay.
Without that, I definitely wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now.
Nice.
So then left there. My first thought was, well, I'm good at marketing, always have been. I'll just start a marketing company. Quickly grew that to maybe like $5,000 a month just to cover our basics, or like the basics that my wife wasn't covering.
Yep.
And in like a week, it was like I
Oh.
called like 25 people. I was like, "Hey, do you need more ads?" And they were like, "Oh yeah." And I was like, "Great, signed up. And then I was like, great, now I can actually like learn how to run this type of business first. So I can
Wow.
I got enough to like sustain it and grow them while growing myself. And then I started reading everything I could. So I read like 30 or 40 business books at that time as well.
Wow.
And then watched a shitload of YouTube videos on how to grow a business properly, etc. Then 2 months later, my wife got fired.
Oh,
So that was
snap.
sweet. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, so there's more urgency that's needed now. I had also like split my attention. I was growing a marketing company and I was also growing a software company simultaneously. And I was like, I can't do this. There's too many attention pieces trying to like focus 50% here, 50% there, etc. I was like, I have a little understanding of how to acquire a business. Let me just do some research and read a couple books. One of them was like Buy Then Build. Great book. I read about half of it, and that was enough for me to understand what I needed to do. Started just scanning as many businesses as physically possible.
And where did you look for businesses?
Flippa.com, Biz Buy Sell, Facebook groups. There's quite a few. Craigslist, believe it or not, a little bit. I just like search like sell business. One thing I found is like if you search kind of like someone that doesn't know how to properly list something, you can find a deal because no one else is going to search that way. And so they're going to list, like, if you search black shoes on Facebook Marketplace, you could get some like Armani black shoes that this guy has no idea how to sell for $50 because he's been sitting there for 6 months with Armani shoes that he didn't put Armani in the name. Whatever. So I started like toying with like Boolean searching essentially of different variations of ways to search for something. Finally, I found one. And honestly, initially it didn't kind of like jump out at me. I was like, that's kind of a boring product, whatever. I kept seeing it, but we bought a different one. We bought a beauty brand, which I had some experience with. I was like, okay, cool. We can boom this. It's got a ton of content and UGCs, and it's automatically making money, and it's got a good user base, yada, yada. I was like, great. So we bought that.
Okay, so how much is that? How'd you buy it? Okay, so first, where was that one? That was on what?
That one was on Biz Buy Sell.
Biz Buy Sell. You purchased. What was the purchase price?
That one was, let's see, 45,000.
45. And was that cash, finance? How did you pay for cash?
Yeah.
And how did you do that?
We got a HELOC on our house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Taking moves, making moves.
Yeah.
Definition of entrepreneurship.
Yeah, 100%. Just risk as much as possible.
Okay.
And that included like it was already profiting like $3,000 a month, and it had like 6 months of inventory included, and
Sounds
it
like
was
a steal.
already it was actually quite great.
Okay.
The reason they didn't want to have it anymore is they had another business selling a very niche product. They could sell like 40 of them a year and make 3 times what this would make easily with zero effort. It was like a no-brainer. And they were like, this is like a distraction now. They had already made it several $1 million, and they were like, we're done with this industry. We don't want to do it anymore. They were also Russian, so they were a little like, we don't even know how to button a business up to make it like pretty. So, and they were in Clearwater. And I was like, cool.
Okay, so it's Biz Buy Sell, but they were local.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So
that was great.
So now for me, as like a skeptic,
Yeah.
you go, if a business is profiting 35 grand a year,
Yeah.
and it's
Why?
for sale for 45 grand,
Yeah.
and it includes inventory,
Yeah.
sure, there's a story that like, oh,
Sure.
we don't want it, blah.
Of course.
But it's like a huge red flag to me. It seems like it's way undervalued.
Of course.
Did it turn out to be what you were like? It actually was making $3 grand a month.
100%.
So that's crazy.
It's very wild.
So how much did you have to look to actually find that? And why did you not think, oh, well, that's no way that's like that?
So so my initial thing was like, this is bullshit. Like, it's any like person in their right mind would be like, no. So the way I research any business once I find it is I look for a reason to say no.
Yep.
That's how that's the lens I put on. It's like, give me something to just walk away.
Okay.
So I looked at it. I was like, give me your Google Analytics. I can easily tell if their traffic is fake, etc. It's like very simple. All from their YouTube and TikTok, like paid UGC. I YouTubed their products. All from YouTube. Millions of views. Millions from people that are active right now in America, not weird, etc. I was like, So this is just a UGC beauty brand, and they just gave up after they made like $5 million. And then their big commerce website showed all of the historical data and the sales, individual orders,
That's $5
all
million
from the
in
US.
sales and history, historical.
And then they just literally about a year and a half ago, or a year and a half prior to that, stopped doing all growth push and just let the 7,000 YouTube videos roll viewership. So then it just automatically made money. Period, because it was doing it was a UGC like organic, whatever YouTube.
Okay.
You know, people watch YouTube for years in the past or whatever, right? Yeah. So I was like, well, this is just like a no-brainer. Like I looked at other things. I looked at where their 3PL was. You know, looked up reviews on them, legitimate. I went and met them, legitimate. I was like, looked up their suppliers, legitimate. I was like, what?
You're expecting spam and garbage.
Yeah, and it's all real. And I'm like, and all their traffic's from YouTube and TikTok. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, and I literally asked. We went to the closing table, and I was like, so when do we get access to this bit? Like, I'm like, and they're both Russian, which has its own, as like Americans, we're just like bred to like distrust a little bit because of the history of America and how that works. But they were like so nice and down to earth and awesome guys. And honestly, they were like, if you have like another little cash injection, you want to do the system we were doing to get UGC, we'll just give it to you. We'll introduce you to all our contacts and like have a good day. We just have this other business that's way better and way less work. We just don't want to do this one anymore, and we make so much money over here that we're good. And I was like, wow, I'm just like, it's, so the thing I found out of that was, if you find an entrepreneur that has 2 avenues and they don't have enough time, find the ugly stepchild, and they will take pennies on the dollar every time. And that's a lot. I've seen hundreds of Flippa listings, hundreds of Biz Buy Sell listings. They have 2 businesses. One isn't as successful or is a little more effort or a little hard, and it just needs the right person to step in. But they're willing to essentially let it go at cost, essentially.
Wow. And so why do you think, I mean, do you think people didn't look at it because it looked too good to be true? Like, why didn't it sell?
They started at 200,000.
Okay.
Yeah. They started at 200,000 and they couldn't find a buyer because they're in Clearwater and they weren't listing it with a broker. They didn't want to do a broker. They had been burned in the past, and they were like, I don't want to do that. I was like, and they were like, and we don't want to sell to someone that we can't meet in person. So they're in Clearwater, which is like a population of 12. Like,
I got it.
So, you know, I mean, advertising is like, make yourself known, right? So if you're in Clearwater, like, there's only so many people here that are willing to buy a business, right? Like, they only had.
And they said, if I don't meet you, I won't sell it to you.
Right. Yeah. So we went to their office and met them in person.
Okay, fine.
In Clearwater.
Okay.
I was like, whoa, I looked them up. They both had apartments here. I looked up their LLC. They had an LLC in America. Like, they were like fully legitimate.
Okay, so now question. How many did you look at and reject like before that? How long did it take you to get to this one?
Hundreds.
Okay, hundreds. And like reviewing profit and loss statements, like how deep
Every
did you
single
come
one.
in?
Profit and loss. So I started with just like, find the issue that's going on that might be making it go down.
What would make me walk away?
Yeah. Find that. And if I didn't find that, then I would, like, right off the bat, like, look at the listing. If there's something that I was like, I always look at, like, a business and I'm like, what would it do in a recession? What would it do in a non-recession? What type of client is going to buy this type of product that it's selling or service that it's offering? What is that type of person's mindset? And if I get, like, a no any along that route, I just stop and go on to the next listing. If I don't get a stop there, I ask for the P&L. I ask for, like, Google Analytics data and a couple other just basics. And then if the P&L has anything where it's like, oh yeah, this is the profit, but we're like missing chunks of money. I'm like, okay, you're missing chunks of money. Like, what's that? And like, it was, and if they literally even stutter, I'm out. I'm just like, nope, I don't want to do this anymore. You're an untrustworthy person.
So you're saying like they say, okay, profit's 200 grand.
Yeah.
And you're saying there's not money in the bank reflected that? Or what do you mean the missing?
Either that or they show like, profits 80,000, but there's a uncategory number of 50,000, and it says like literally uncategorized or something. What does that mean? They're like, well, it's you know, cars and cell phones and stuff, and I'm like, and stuff. What's this? Like, what are you doing? Like,
so like the ad back. So they're saying it was an expense, but they're counting it as not an expense.
Correct.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, okay. Prove it. Like, show me. And if they can do that, I'll let them have the chance to like give me a bank statement, like show like you itemize, get an accountant to go itemize every one of those. Like you better have good books if you want someone to pay you a bunch of money. That is whatever. Okay. So if they can't, then it's done right there, and I don't want to be a part of that. And then so it was like 100, 200 businesses that I looked at. And so look at the P&L,
so you didn't like
if any of those.
You go, whatever, forget all that. Like, none of them. And then this one, okay, you said, well, it looks really amazing.
Yeah.
Let's find
and I at least had all of the stuff and never gave me a no. And we met them in person and they were real. And I looked up both their houses. I looked up their LLC. They were legitimate. I was like, wow, this is wild.
Okay. So they listed for 200. They didn't get it. They kept bringing it down.
They just kept bringing it down. And I think they listed it at 65. And I just got them to 45. Literally. Like.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, you are putting a loan on your house to buy this.
Of course.
So you want to get a deal because you're risking a lot.
Yeah, for sure. So we closed on that one, and it was going well, and it's still running just fine, and it's making its money, and we don't really have to do anything whatsoever. It is now our ugly stepchild because we don't want to put enough effort because we bought the second one, which is not our ugly stepchild.
Right.
So we're going to, at some point, when I get the current business to a point where I can completely leave, essentially, I'm going to then focus all my attention on that one and start growing it or sell it.
Okay, but fine. So that's that's making whatever, $3,000 a month. You get a loan, it's making $3,000 a month. And what'd you do? So now you're focused on that. So let's go back in time. You don't have to sell the business yet, right?
Yeah.
Fine.
We were still looking, we had started already looking at that as well.
Oh, okay.
So I got a little, this is where like my new entrepreneurship a little bit kind of got ahead of me. Mm-hmm. I was like, we could buy a business a month. Like, I could just figure this out, right? Like, I could just go. And the next month, we bought the second business. Like, we started looking at it already immediately, and we bought the second business. And I was like, we could just do another one in March. Like, this is great. We bought one in January. We bought one in February. We'll just buy another one in March. And then I was like, but we have to.
So what's the February? So which is the February? So okay, so you're in the beauty one January. February, you got which one?
The bed one.
You got the bed one, which is your star today.
Yes, currently.
And then you were like, hey, let's buy another one in March.
Yeah.
I'm ready to roll.
Yeah.
Even though hold on. February, how much was that purchase?
That purchase was 35.
Really? So you got one for 45, one for 35. How much did you take out on the loan on your house?
120.
Okay, so you had at least one more in you.
Exactly. I was like, I could do 3. This is going to be great.
Okay.
And then I was like, wait, at our current sales trajectory for the beauty one, we're going to need to buy stock soon. So we were like, okay, let's figure out that. We started doing that. Great. And then we were like, well, we're out of money on the HELOC to whatever. So, okay, we'll pump the brakes on buying another business. Let's just make these two make money. How about that? Yeah. Turned on the ads for both. Normal ads for the beauty one don't work as well. That was something I didn't know. Mm-hmm. So I was like, cool. I'm going to pump the brakes on those ads. I'm going to pump gas into the other one. That instantly worked, and we doubled the business in 25 days.
Wow.
Immediately.
That's incredible. Now, what kind of ads?
To start, it was Google right
ads,
away.
Okay. And then you're talking text ads, image ads, video ads?
Shopping.
Shopping. Okay, Google Shopping.
Yeah. Plugged everything in, all the keyword targeting, etc., and away we went. And I was like, oh. And that was at like $20 a day. I was like, we doubled the business on $20. I was like, holy shit, this is it. And then, we...
So the previous owner had never done any Google Shopping ads?
They tried Google to get an accessory for the item, and then they were like, we'll use that as like the lead magnet, and then they'll buy it later. And I was like, why don't you just...
So they never sold actual beds on Google?
Yeah. I was like, what? Just put beds on Google?
Okay, let's go back to due diligence on this bed one.
Yeah.
So why did you like this bed one? And what was the multiple? How did that go?
Yeah. So he was asking, I think, originally 60, and then I saw him lower it. Like, we saw that listing in November. Nothing happened with it. He readjusted things.
What was it? Do you remember the title? Like, what was it like?
It was just like drop ship bed business or something like that. Like for sale, making, $35K a year. Working 10 minutes a week.
That was the listing.
Yeah. I was like, okay, I can work 10 minutes a week for $35K a year. Like, I could do that.
And the list price was $60K.
Yeah. Okay. And then I saw it drop because once you sign the NDA on a listing. They update you every time the price moves on Flippa.
Okay, and this Flippa. Okay, so
this one's
Biz
Flippa.
by Sell was the beauty.
Yeah.
Flippa was the bed.
So I was like, in November, I like looked at it and I was like, I don't know, maybe fine. And then I saw it kept lowering. And that's either like an indicator of just like they're getting sad, etc., or whatever. Or they just can't sell it, obviously.
Or desperate, whatever.
Yeah. And then I, decided to talk to the owner a little bit and just get to know him for a teeny bit in the middle of January because I was like, I know how to do business now. I'm an expert. Let me talk to him. So we chatted. He was a super nice guy. He had another business, software business that was doing incredibly well, stupidly well.
Wow.
He started
what
this
kind of
one.
age? What kind of?
The
How old
software.
is this person?
He's probably 55.
Okay.
Maybe.
All right.
His daughter was doing the day-to-day basics on the business, like shipping basics and things like that, and submitting orders and all that stuff. And he kind of did it so that she could have something, like he was like helping her build something kind of,
Skill or
right?
something.
Like, yeah, just like, do you do it with your kids?
He wasn't going to give her the business.
Maybe, I don't know what their plan was,
All right,
but yeah, I mean, she was kind of running it. It was like a father-daughter kind of cool thing together, right? And I was like, this is great. Like, this is cool. These are like nice
let me tear
people.
that away.
These are like nice American people. They're like great. But the dad had a software business that was doing incredibly well, and he was like, my daughter doesn't really want to do this anymore, blah, blah, blah. Like, what? And I was like, okay, I will do that. No problem. But at that point, he had gotten down to 45, I think. And so I checked the P&L. Yeah. I checked the P&L, Google Analytics. Analytics is going up over time. I checked the industry, going up over time. I was like, these are good indicators. Now I know a little bit more about how to buy a business, what to look for. These are all organic, etc. I was like, this solves a problem.
You're looking for what would make me walk away. What is wrong about this?
Right.
What is the fraudulent, the chargebacks, the lawsuit?
Like all of that.
What's happening?
Yeah.
And then you look, you can't find it.
Right.
The thing, again, makes it 35, which is about the same as the other business, about the same range. And it's selling for a little bit over 1 year of profit.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So I was like, why?
It's
only 2.5 years old. So I was like, okay, maybe it's young. So maybe there's that. Like, and he was just like, we don't, she doesn't want to do it anymore. I don't have the time to do it because to get a hold of him took like multiple hours every time I needed to have one little question answered. So I was like,
busy guy.
Yeah, exactly. So I like knew he was like not focusing on it. I was like, okay. So I searched Google keyword trends, Google Planner, keyword planner, asked the internet, a couple other things, searching for like all of the questions that people ask for. And there's like volume in this area. And I was like, okay. We kept talking, chit-chatting when I was like, because there's going to be, I came up with some random reason. Can you go down a little bit? And he was I'll do 35.
Dude,
He was like, I'll do 35. I was like, great, done. Like, we'll close in 2 days. Like, no problem. So we closed in like 2 or 3 days. He started signing over the stuff with Flippa. They put it in an escrow account, and then they have you do all the stuff, and then blah. I was like, great. So we did it. And then that one was a little more active because typically it's a higher class clientele that buy beds in general. Unless they're like basic,
online.
Unless they're like basic mattress.
Yeah.
But they still want to talk to someone usually. Okay. It's like 50% of the time they want to like have a conversation, at least to see that you're a real human being. Yeah. So they're
like the
very
Russians.
into exactly. It's literally so we were like, okay, we're going to have to be a little more active in this business. But then I turned on the ads and they started like immediately working really well. And we were like, okay, cool. I'm going to now. And then I was like, I'm going to try Facebook. So we tried Facebook, little testing. And then it started working. In May, we like quadrupled the business. We're like, oh, okay. And then in June, I was like not a Facebook expert. Google, I was pretty solid. Facebook, I was like an okay expert. Like I had done it and I could handle it. Facebook, June and July were like okay, but then I ultimately realized that like we needed to spend way more with Facebook to let it like properly do its thing. So we spent way more. In August, we 10x'd in 1 month. Just boom.
Okay, so hold on. There's too many X's here.
Sure.
Hold on.
Yep.
It's doing what? At the beginning, it's doing like $7,000 a month. February.
Yeah.
Something like
7
that,
or
right?
8. 7 or 8. Yeah.
7
somewhere
or
in
8.
that. Somewhere in that range.
So then,
sometimes 6. Sometimes 5.
Talk to me. Walk me through this, because like, okay, double, triple, 10x, like, it's a lot of numbers there.
March, memory serves, we did like 16 to 20, something like that.
yeah. All
Somewhere
right.
in that
Okay.
range, right? So
Yeah.
revenue doubled
Yeah.
on average.
Yes.
We're like, okay. April, I like panicked and did everything on Google, and that like messed with all the algorithms. I didn't even know what an algorithm was. I was like, okay. So April went to like 11, which was still above what they were ever doing. So
yeah,
we were
but
like, okay.
it crashed really.
It did.
Okay.
So I was like, oh shit. May, fixed things, and it went to like 28 or
Okay.
something like that. And we were like, okay. June, it went to like 20. We're like, okay.
All right.
July.
Okay.
24, I think. Yeah. But then I'd done a little more research, like really like deep dived into like everything having to do with advertising. I really like took it on to learn everything I could about advertising as much as possible in July. And then one of the like recurring themes was just spend more money. Like let it like have some room to breathe, essentially. So I was like, we just got to do it. And so we just did it. And also the basics of like advertising is getting people to see what you have.
Right.
Period.
Yep.
If you don't spend money, you don't get that. That's just not how it works. So we spent like 5x what we were spending before. 2 days of pure sweat and panic. And then third day, like 3 orders in a day. And we were like, oh, what?
And you were getting like one every other day before?
Yeah, not even maybe. Sometimes one a week. Like
Okay,
4, well, like we get like, I mean, beds are high ticket. So we get like 5 to 8 a month, maybe.
wow.
And then this was like 3 in a day. And we
Wow.
were like, okay, this is a different experience altogether.
But it took a
So,
while
yeah,
for those
then we
people to
did-
buy, because if you're saying you had to spend a lot, because for higher ticket, we've seen that too in our business. Like they don't always buy right away. It takes a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Right. It's not that impulse buy. So maybe
exactly.
they check it, put it to their car, do this.
They
send
think
to their
about it.
friends,
It's
send
like
to
2 or 3
whoever.
visits, etc.
You were doing a lot of retargeting as well.
Yeah. And then, so we did 64 or something in August. And
Okay,
we were like,
so that's about like what 8x from where
8
your
and
original.
change.
Your
Yeah,
original, from
exactly.
the original.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Profit wise, it was definitely more, but yeah.
More than 8.
It was like 24, 25. So, yeah. Or
So
no,
you-
24, 25 thou.
Oh, I got you. I
profit.
got you. I
So-
got you. Okay.
Whatever that would have been. He was averaging 3,000 or a little under 3,000. So it
Okay,
was
so
right
yeah,
about 10x.
yeah, okay.
In my mind, we
Okay.
10x because
Fine,
we
fine,
profited
fine,
10x.
fine.
Like,
Yeah,
I was like,
sure. Okay.
And that's with ad spend and everything. We were like, that's fucking great. And then September.
Get more people to buy, spend more. I mean, that's really
Yeah,
that was
literally.
really, that was the,
we were
the
like,
lesson.
okay, great. Yeah, like just get it known, period. Like no one sees it. So we should just get people to see it.
It's amazing.
September was a good up, but like maybe 70, 75, something like that, I think.
Wow.
October, right around there. November, surprisingly, only like 78.
Okay.
And then I was like, well, we're in like Black Friday should have done something, and it didn't. What the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
Then I realized, we have an evergreen product that is not actually seasonal. Not really. I
Yeah,
was like,
and the spend goes like the amount of advertisers and cost per click.
exactly.
And
So like
CPMs
it
go
makes
way
sense
up.
that we didn't really even do like a lot more.
Right,
And I was
right,
like,
right.
but I wasn't actually pushing things a lot more. So I was like, okay. I was being very conservative.
Yeah.
So I pushed it a lot in December. I was like, let's try it. And we did 140. And I was like, oh, whoa, that's cool.
Wow.
Like,
And that's
this just
more than the
works.
entire business had done before you got it. In 4
Yeah,
months.
yeah. It had done like 96 the year before we bought it, revenue. And I was
amazing.
like, okay, so we did that in a month.
So while this whole thing is happening,
Yeah.
your beauty brand is like you
It just
stop,
runs
stop
on.
opening it.
Well, yeah,
You
we stopped doing
opening it, right?
everything,
Just
but
don't touch it, leave it.
Exactly, but it runs on its own. It's got a 3PL. It's got the videos that are running for
Okay.
it. It sells
go.
on its and it's fulfilled and everything. So we're like, cool. It's
Easy.
gonna do
Leave it
its
though.
thing. It's got enough stock for a while. Like it's fine. But yes, we were not like pushing that business.
Right. Okay. So now talk to me about what is going through your mind as this is happening. You have a business. You were making, whatever, 100 grand a year. Okay.
Yeah.
And now you sold 140 at whatever, 20-30% profit margin. I mean, basically, you had a massive spike in income, like very, very fast.
Yeah.
What's happening in your universe?
We got like the initial like what's that serotonin boost for like
Euphoria?
a second. Yeah, and then like, oh shit, we're different people now. Like this is a different world we're playing in. So I was like, well, we've never been in this world, so I should go learn from people that are in this world. So I went onto YouTube and I was like, what do like millionaires do with their money, and how do you grow a business that's bigger than that? Like, whoa. So I just Googled and read a shit ton of books from people that are much wealthier. And a lot of them were like, well, reinvest as much of that as possible. Do not take it as profit. Reinvest it and make your business grow. And I was like, okay, great. That makes sense. So we took our base salary and that was it. And like we like maybe splurged a little bit. It was December and we didn't know how to do the whole tax thing. So we did take one and buy an asset, which we didn't realize was not, but it was an asset that's like a tax write-off. So we were like, okay, we might be able to get our
You bought like a real estate thing or no?
We bought a truck.
A truck, okay.
Yeah, because we were like, we can figure out how to make that be a tax thing because it's 6,000 pounds. And our accountant could help us, so we'll figure that out because we don't know what we're doing. We've never done this before. Then January, so in November, my dad died. And then in January, we had to move. So we moved into a new house with my mom all together. And so January went down to like 90 or something like that. And we were like, okay, we need to, we took our attention off of growing things and pushing stuff because we were like literally moving. Oh, and January, we also had our second baby. So like, it was like double, thank you. It was like double, like just chaos. And I was also like renovating and painting walls and it was just like, woof. And then fulfilling orders and all of that as well. Like it was wild. And then we were like, oh, we took our eyes off the reins, and obviously January took a hit for it. The first 2 weeks, completely like desecrated. It was like literally maybe 20 a week for the first 2 weeks or something like that. So we were at like 40 for the month. And we were like, oh God, our business just fell apart. And then we put our attention back on right after our second was born. I could go back to like focusing a little bit. My wife obviously was in full baby mode, so she was whatever, but she was helping me on like basic admin stuff because she could still do that from her phone. Luckily, online businesses are really nice that way. And she's like a wizard when it comes to organization and policies and things like that. So, and so last 2 weeks we did up to whatever 98 or something like that. So we did 55 or quite a bit. And then February was up to like, I think 110 or something like that. March was like 125. April took a teeny dip because we were looking at an acquisition, getting acquired. We were looking at getting acquired.
Selling.
We're not selling necessarily, acquired.
We were talking
That's
about
right. Yeah. I didn't know if you wanted to mention that.
That's fine. Yeah, I was trying to, I was trying to, I was like, I'll buy into this. It looks good.
Yeah.
It looks good.
So we were looking at that. So our attention units came off a little bit and we were like thinking like, okay, whatever. And then so I think we went down a little bit, but it was still above 100. I just can't remember what it was. May, we hired our first person because that's what we're supposed to do.
That's good. That's true. Yeah. And what was your plan in terms of what's the next like milestone? Because again, I mean, you could grow a little bit, but like, what was like, hey, because here's one thing.
Yeah.
You had what is your goal in terms of like, where do you want to go?
Right. So the goal was to get into like reseller facilities, like more retail instead of online, because we're the number one seller of our specific bed online in the U.S. Without a doubt.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
By a lot.
Wow.
So we were like, okay, well we gotta. What do the experts recommend? Get more products, sell a product that's going to be a long-term recurring. So we were like, okay, well we need to figure that out, like what to sell that has to do with beds, recurring. Yeah. I was like, we could come up with new pillows or sheets or something. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Edible sheets.
But then we could also, sure, I guess. Then we could. So then I was like, okay, well, the other way, like to expand on like a horizontally version is to get affiliates, to get retail, to get resellers, etc. So that's where the attention went mainly. Like increase ads, obviously, because that's like doing the legwork. Hire someone to help with that so I can take all of my attention off of that. And so my wife can take attention off of that and we can build our automations and our policies and our systems and all that. She's really good at automations and systems and all that. Otherwise, we would be like crazy, overwhelmed with everything. So, the goal was basically to get it to 10 plus, 10 million a month, somewhere in that range. 10 million plus, a month? Or something like that. Yeah.
Okay, so that's
which is like relatively easy. Yeah.
Relatively easy, 10 million a month?
In our industry, it is. That would still be.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yes, that would still be a really small fry. It would be a small fry in our industry. It would still be a small fry in our industry. So, you know, we're not selling something that's small ticket, right? Period. And so it's just easier. It's easier to get that many eyeballs to look at it and make a decision.
Okay,
It
but
just is.
the idea though, okay, you're basically at you were under $1 million last year, and you're like, hey, I should be at 100 million. So you're looking at basically 100x,
Sure.
like a 10x,
Yeah, the goal.
10x.
Yeah.
That's what you're looking at.
Yeah,
So you're
and-
planning that in a realistic way. You're saying, hey, you're
Yeah,
gonna
like let's set a
expand.
big goal. Let's not set a goal that we're going to surpass in 6 months because our growth trajectory says we're going to be at $4 million or $5 million like in like 6 months. So
right.
why would we be like, okay, good, that'll be good, and then we'll just retire. Like we're never going to do anything again after
I
that.
get
You
it.
know,
That's
that would be
ridiculous.
weird.
Yep.
So big goals, big dreams, yada yada. For me, a friend of mine actually mentioned who is a consultant. He was like, he asked me the same question. What are you gonna do? You kind of nailed it now. What are you gonna do with your life? And I was like, that's a good question. I have absolutely no idea. So I thought about it a little bit, and I was like, well, I mean, I really like helping other people, and since I kind of know what I'm doing with business now, and so the marketing company, I helped a bunch of people like double their service-based companies, chiropractors doubled their income, etc. So I was like, I can market a lot of stuff. Like that's pretty cool, and that's like a good skill to help people with. So I just was like, I mean, I'll probably either sell or hire a team to run it and manage the whole process, or start acquiring other businesses to roll them in to make a larger company. And then I'll probably just like full-time help other people and then just like homeschool my kids. I'm like, that's what I'll just live that way and it'll be nice. He was like, great. So like start helping people now. I was like, fair. And then I literally, on a couple business Facebook groups that I'm in, I was like, anybody need help with their business at all for free, I'll assist you in any way that you want.
I need help with some Facebook ads. So you want to help me?
Sure.
Okay, let's do it.
Great.
I'm serious.
I'm not joking.
Okay,
I'll
good.
totally help
Excellent.
you.
Let's do
For
it.
sure. I've offered it several other people in the area. Easy. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, because like I like business. I like diving into stuff like this that we're talking about. That's like where I'll like browse businesses for fun, just to see what's out there, or just cause. And then I mean, I even helped a friend buy a business like 4 months ago, just because I knew it was good, and I knew he was good, so I was like, put them together.
Yeah, and you weren't going to buy a business a month. So
Nope,
now
not doing that. I can at least help other people do it, right?
Okay, and then now we were talking just before the podcast about where it is now.
Yeah.
So totally by coincidence, you had your highest ever sales day yesterday.
Yeah.
How much was that?
27.
27 grand. So what do you think you're going to do this month now, August?
We're currently projecting about 300.
300K.
Yeah.
So from February 2023 to August 2024, you went from 7 grand a month to 300 grand a month, which is basically like a 35x, 34x, something like that, in a very short amount of time, which is absolutely ridiculous. So what was that jump? So you planned all these different things, horizontal, this, blah, like.
Yeah.
What's the thing that brought it to that next level? So ads, we talked about ads. The first step to grow, right?
Yeah.
You're talking about an e-commerce company, you buy a company.
Advertise.
Master the ads.
Yes.
That was the
Yeah.
top. And
Yeah.
then what about the next jump?
Immediately systems and how you're going to service those people right away, as fast as possible. That's what my wife is like really good at.
Yep.
That's where she came from. She's also very good at marketing as well. But I was running the ads. I was like, I need someone to help me run the automations. I'm good at automations too, but I need both of us to just like build every little nuanced detail. She's way better at attention to detail things. So I was like, you should take this one. So she did all that. And then May, we hired someone. In May, we grew by 50%, just the month of May.
Amazing.
At that scale, right? So we're like,
So
great.
you're saying the lever was people. People and systems.
Yeah.
Okay.
Investing in people big time.
And people to do what? Like how does a person make you grow?
She specifically took our attention out of being in the business to working on the business. Very different. Like when you're being the employee and you're working on the day-to-day fulfillments and basics, right? Services, etc. You can't then disconnect and start working on like bigger think. How am I going to like, what tentacles are we going to reach out and start like doing things to make it actually get bigger? It's like noodle time, whatever you want to call that, right? Noodle time, like thinking time. You know, like how are you gonna like what's the word? I guess I use noodle because that's just the way that's the word I use. But like thinking time, like pondering what growth steps you're gonna take for the next whatever, right?
What Bezos calls it is his putter timer, patter timer.
Sure.
Something.
Yeah,
Like,
everybody's
in the
got their
morning,
own
I
like
to putter.
Yeah, sure, great.
Like, you
That
think
sounds
about
like
the
a
world's
very
richest man,
fancy term, though.
Walk around and just think.
I like wet bread. Noodles work for me. It's good.
Okay, yeah, noodle time. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then also like I'm a big data guy, so I look at our data analytics, where are people coming from, how old are they, how to answer their most whatever, and then slowly conversion optimize our website to be better and better and better. I tried to like find companies that do that. There's not a lot of them, so I was like, well, I guess I gotta just figure out how to do that myself. Like, yeah. And then our employee, she's great. She's super caring. She's awesome. She's like everything you could want in an employee, so that's great. So she took most of our like day-to-day like activities that were like on just working basics off of our plate, which is great. So yeah, we grew 50% there, and then in June we had our highest ever, and we grew another 50%. And actually, technically, because we were bigger, it was only like 32% or something.
Fine.
But
Like, is that's just more ads, or is that new products, or
more ads,
like,
and
what is that?
So
the other
June,
100K, from 100K to 200K, what is it? Is it
so
just more units sold, new types of products?
More
You're
units
in a
sold.
store?
In June, we had two. What did we do in June? We had a new product that we ended up not moving forward with, but it did help a little bit. More ads for sure.
So,
more
ads.
avenues.
Doesn't make sense. Hold on. Whoa.
Yeah.
You had a new product.
We tested a new product.
Yeah. Okay.
Sold a little well, but then started having like problems that we were not expecting, and we were like, okay, we're not gonna do
so
this.
it sold, and then you.
We're like an axe that one.
Good.
Yeah, so more ads, higher budgets, a little bit lower margins for sure.
But no new product.
Not significant.
And no new channel.
We started advertising on vibe.co, which is TV, like local channels and such like that.
For real?
Yeah.
TV ads.
So in April, we filmed a commercial. We were like, reinvest money. Okay. Yes, that's what we're supposed to do.
Right.
Film a commercial with Motion State Media.
Okay.
Local company
budget?
video. $12,000.
Okay.
Yeah. They did a great ad for us. It was awesome. And then I was like, okay, I'm running on Facebook to test it, make sure it's working. It worked. I cut it up a little bit, readjusted it a little bit, added a new copy, et cetera, and it finally bit. And we were like, great, this is working. And then started running it. I was like, well, this is like a commercial, so we should run it on the TV. So I was like, I'm going to try Hulu. But I Googled Hulu ads to run it on Hulu, and Vibe Google ad came up. And I was like, what's Vibe? And it was like, don't do Hulu, do Vibe. And I was like, what are you? What is that? I don't know what that is. So I clicked on it, and it's got all the local TV stations, all the like little things that you don't know how to get onto, because it's like that's like the bigger people world, like of like doing like TV. I was like, okay, I could do TV. Like, that's great. Let's do it. And I set up an ad in like an hour total. I was like, this is really easy. Like, this is.
You were on the TV? Did you like turn on the channel?
Like, yeah. Someone was like, did I see your product on the TV? And I was like, yes, that's right. We are doing the TV now.
Wow.
Yeah. And sales increased. And so we're like, okay. And I was too stupid to live and didn't realize that that was the direct cause of one of the things that caused June to be the highest. So we basically shut it off in July. And we increased Facebook. And we were like, cool. Facebook got us to almost what we did in June.
Okay.
But way less profitably.
Yes.
So we were like, okay, I'm going to turn that back on in August, but more. And now we're on to another 50% growth. Yeah. So
TV is unlocked.
It's just hard to track. You see, I'm like a data guy, so I'm like, where is it? Just hoping.
Back in the day,
pray to the Lord above that it's coming from the right channels. But when I boost the ad spend there, we get more sales. So Facebook does its part. Don't get me wrong. I'm not turning Facebook off.
And is it geolocation, or is it like all of the U.S. or how?
I do all the U.S.
All the U.S.
Except for I don't do Alaska and Hawaii, because shipping a bed to Alaska and Hawaii.
Wow. So you're in channels in every all continents.
And you can focus what you want too. You can focus like, I want to target young people, so you can like age group blah blah blah, and it like knows based on what they're watching how old they're gonna be.
Wow.
Which is neat. And I love data. So I was like, this is a great platform. Like, this is sick.
That's amazing. And, I tell people all the time when I'm doing trainings and stuff and I make a massive mistake, I say anybody can sell on Amazon.
Sure.
And anybody can buy and grow businesses.
Sure.
I mean, you put the ads up, it explodes, and then you turn it off.
Sure. Yeah, I couldn't. Yeah.
I mean, this is what we do.
Sure.
Like, I'm serious. Like, this is why I really believe, like, anybody can go and start it.
Yeah.
Because
no, I know.
you would think, like, those guys don't
Yeah,
make
yeah,
mistakes.
like
But
no,
it's
no,
not
no, no. We
true.
make them all the time, and ours are way bigger too, and they're way more hurtful. Like, I mean, you're more of a position than me. Like, you make a big mistake, like you have a team out there. Like, they feel that mistake. I only have one and my wife to look at. Both of them look at me like,
And the two
you're a
kids.
fucking idiot. Yeah,
And the
I
two
have my 2 kids, yes, and the dogs, etc.
Okay.
But you know, you have a lot more people on your shoulders. I mean, you and Whit do, but like,
For now,
yeah,
we'll see.
it's true.
I mean, well, let's see. As long as we pick up the vibe in the TV, that's something that I think that's
Totally
sounds
worth
brilliant,
looking
right?
at. Yeah, yeah.
Because it's something that most people don't do.
It's true.
How many people do you know that do vibe?
I have no one.
No one.
No one.
How many people
it
do
is a
Facebook ads?
business.
How many
I
people do you
checked
know
on
that do
Reddit.
Facebook ads?
Not a lot of people.
Not a lot of people?
No, I don't. I personally don't know.
They run Facebook ads.
No, I'll talk to them and they're like, "Can I have you help me run my Facebook?"
Okay, but like when he's a marketing company, chiropractors and this, they
Sure.
generally have tried Facebook ads. No.
Sure. Yeah, they
try
like went in there, they
Facebook or
click the button.
Google.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
Dude, if your business has never tried Google
That's true.
ads,
Yes,
dude, come
they've
on.
at least tried it once. Yes,
They've
for
tried
sure.
people try it, and then
Yes.
if you talk to an e-commerce company
Yeah,
here,
duh, all of them.
every
Everyone,
e-commerce
yeah,
company has
for
tried
sure.
Facebook,
TikTok,
TikTok,
Google,
all
et
the
cetera,
stuff
yeah.
there. It's
Yeah.
up there.
Yeah. We also
But I've
spend a
literally
lot
never
on
heard
YouTube.
of the word vibe in
yeah.
my life.
Yeah, vibe.co. Couldn't believe it. I was like, wow.
And you had a commercial already. 'Cause you were
Exactly.
investing.
Because I was like, we're gonna do TV. So I was like, let's test it on Hulu to make sure that it works. And then I Googled Hulu.
And did you ever try Hulu in the end or no?
No, not yet. Actually, a friend of mine said,
not?
don't try Hulu.
Really?
It's not
Don't try
worth
it? Okay, but they don't have
I'm
a
gonna try
$12,000
it.
commercial.
That's true. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna
mean,
gonna still
if
try.
TV worked-
I'm still gonna
Okay, good.
totally
All
try.
right, all right,
100% for
Dude,
sure.
I have to get on
Yeah,
this
yeah,
vibe.
yeah.
That sounds
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
But and who was the one that did your commercial again?
Motion State Media.
Motion State Media. Is that a local?
Yeah,
Or?
Cam Simon.
Okay.
Yeah,
Great,
They're
dude.
great. Super great.
Dude, I love
Highly
this.
professional.
Okay, all right.
They do literally $1 million commercials. That's like all they do.
Okay.
Yeah.
$1
They're great.
million commercial for $12,000 is pretty good.
I can't actually believe it. Now, ours was basic, and I brought the product and did a lot of the basics for them, so there's that. But he can get real fancy within. He has like the arm things, and he can do like a whole thing. I can jump
love
out of a
this.
plane, like whatever, right?
Okay.
So he's
So-
sick.
I mean, dude, that right there was just worth it for me for this entire thing.
Sick.
Because like TV.
Nice. Yeah.
I mean, why not?
No, it's true.
You know.
Yeah, and honestly, like, obviously because we sell beds, and like some of the higher ticket items you sell are not being purchased by 20-year-olds.
Right.
On average,
No, for sure.
right?
Yeah. $1,000 coffee
But
machine
they
is
are-
typically
exactly,
not like,
but they're going to be purchased by someone, say 45 plus,
Right.
and a lot of those people stay at home and watch TV.
That's true.
Period. And I was like, when I put that together, I was like, oh my god, I actually can't believe I'm so stupid. I like can't believe I missed it in June. I was like, God. I was like, look, Facebook's working so great.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is wow. Did you expect when you bought this company selling beds that it was going to do anything near what it's selling now?
No, not initially. No.
What was your plan for the business?
Plan was to grow it like I was probably going to grow it to, a couple 100,000 a year or something like that, and then work on buying another one, and I would buy like 12 and have them all make a couple 100,000 a year, and it'd be great. And then honestly, I read somewhere in that first 6 months, I read Alex Hormozy's book again.
$100 million offers?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was like, or no, actually, maybe even just
$100
listen to a
million
podcast. He
podcast,
talked about specifically like, go all in on one item. Put all your effort into that. Get a really big shovel after building the one item with all your attention. And then you can diversify because you have a really big shovel to diversify with. If you have a little shovel, doing 15 minutes of work on 12 different things is going to get you literally nowhere. And he or someone used the explanation of if you've got 5 holes to dig and there's 5 pots of gold at the bottom of each hole, and you dig 1 scoop at a time, but you have to switch each time, right? It's going to take you like, what, 20 or 25 times a multiple, to get to the bottom of just one. But if you just did the same amount on the one, you're going to get to the thing way faster, less effort, less pain, etc. And I was like, oh my God, why is that not talked about more often? The big guys talk about diversifying.
I don't talk about diversifying.
Maybe but like,
I think this is just brilliant. And
Yeah.
then look, if you reach the bottom, you could take that gold, then you could hire
and then
people
you
to
can
do it
hire
for you,
people
right?
to do all the other things. I'm like, oh my God, it's genius.
I think it's really smart.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I've been to many masterminds and they'll tell me the exact opposite. Most of the time, they're like, focus. When you go into
Right.
like the big dogs, when
Okay.
like everyone's selling on
Yeah.
10 million plus.
Yeah.
I've been in a few where I was always the smallest.
Okay.
And
That's a good room to be
most
in.
people made fun of
That's
me
a
like,
really
oh,
good
you
room.
have software and you have this and you have consulting and you have this, like, ha, like little Aaron, like, oh.
That's
And I'm
wild.
like, shit. Okay, I'm going to go focus a little more. So
That's cool. I mean, that's a
think
good room
it's-
to be in, though. When you're the smallest fry, like, that's a cool place. You just ask one question. Anybody's going to tell you something that you don't know, like,
yeah.
which is nice.
So
especially
I'm-
at your level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm very glad that you doubled down on that one. And was that like a conscious decision after the sales started happening, or you kind of listened and said, "Hey, we'll make the sales happen"? Like, what came first? It went up, and then you're like, "Okay, I'll focus," or you said, "I'll focus," and then it grew.
It went up a little, like it did the first 6 months of like kind of like it's starting to grow and starting to do things. And then in July, I read 6 new business books that were one was $100 million offers, and the other 5 were, oh man, I mean one of them was Millionaire's Fast Lane.
Okay.
Cool book. Guy had like a limousine search engine software or something that he like fed leads to limousine services back 25 years ago. But he was like, the thing about that people don't realize how easy it is to make money. So go find someone that's doing something, improve it, make it faster, make a new business. That's it. So easy. Go pick a business you like. You like Coke? Great. Do something, deliver it faster, make it cooler, make a new business.
Yeah.
It generally will work. Like, they already did the thing. They did the groundwork. Just literally follow and I was like, whoa. And then $100 million offers and the podcast and whatever. He was like, go all in on one. I was like, well, we just do both of those things together. We'll just nail it. And then we just did that, and then we nailed it. It's weird, but the information's out there all over the place. And I have like a huge book list that I recommend to anybody that I'm like, here's all of it. But you have to go read it.
Okay, so
like,
did you publish that somewhere?
No. But
So
I
do you
probably
have a
should.
website?
Nope.
So you need to make a website. Okay. JacksonH.com or something.
Woof. Okay.
Or whatever.
Sure.
Get me your book list and we'll put it in the show notes.
Great.
All right.
Okay.
So if it's a website, or if it's not, then do Medium. If you go to medium.com,
Yep.
it's like a blog platform,
Okay.
and you could publish your first blog post, which would be Jackson Hollingsworth's book list.
Hello world.
And you just put your first 50 books or whatever, 10 books, whatever the hell you want.
Sure.
And now you've just started a new business. Make it better. You have boards of book list. I haven't gotten a book list. Boom.
But then my attention will come off of selling beds.
No, dude,
No,
but
I'm
like,
joking. Yeah, I'll do that. That's fine.
I was
That's
like,
fine.
dude, I
That's
was
fine.
like,
Yeah.
take 5 seconds.
Yeah, that's fine.
Take a minute.
Yeah.
And then you have a book list.
Yeah.
And then we can share it.
Yeah.
Because I also want to know some of the books. Like right now I started running, and I've listened to like 4
Running.
books. Yeah, I'm running.
Okay.
While I'm running, I do
Yeah,
audiobooks.
yeah.
So it's like really
Yeah.
like my study
No, it's
time.
great.
Like,
Yeah, it's literally
I go
great.
an hour run.
Yeah.
I do an hour an audiobook. and
Every
it's
time I
like,
do like a long drive or a gym or whatever, I'm like, oh, plug it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be useful.
That's
A
great.
book list.
That's super
Because then
great.
if you want to 35,
I'm sure you have
33X,
read almost
35X.
everything that
No,
I've read.
I really
but-
haven't.
Okay.
I really have. I probably look. I have a list, and last
Sure.
year, I want to say I read around 12 books total the entire year.
Okay.
And this year, I think I'm at like 7 or 8 or
Okay.
something. And
Okay.
now, but I've increased. Like in the last month or something, I read like 4 or 5.
Okay.
Because I started running like almost every day.
Sure.
And then I'm doing audiobooks. I'm getting more into a pace, and I'm starting to run out of like. Actually, a lot of books I reread
Yeah, me too.
because
Yeah.
like
Some of the ones that are
Psychology of
gold.
Money,
Yeah,
Morgan
God,
Housel.
that was one of the ones I read last
Yeah,
year.
that's amazing.
I was like,
Incredible, right? Like 10x Rule,
yeah,
Grant Cardone books.
God,
Be
that
Obsessed with the
made me
Average.
like so disappointed in myself and and lit a fire under my soul. Even though I was already doing extremely well, I was like, I'm not doing enough. Like, what am I doing with my life? That book is I underestimated the shit out of that book.
Yeah.
Like, way underestimated it. Read that and I was like, I am pumped to
Yes.
do
Yeah.
everything all the time. And now I get why he is the way he is. Like,
Yeah.
it makes sense.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that's what I reread because
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah, when you find your 5,
yeah,
like,
there was a
Yeah.
guy, there was a baseball player, like a top 10 Hall of Famer baseball guy
Yeah.
who was on Grant Cardone's podcast. Yeah. And he said he had this book that he read when he was like 15 about baseball.
yeah.
And he said he read it like it was either it was something crazy like once a day or once a week or once a month or something, but he read it like minimum once a month for his entire life. The same book, and he read it every month,
That's wild.
and because it was about baseball,
That's
and he
wild.
became a top 10 Hall of Famer baseball player.
Yeah.
So it's like it doesn't actually matter. It doesn't actually matter if you read 10,000 books, or like, could you read one book 100 times
right.
and know everything about a topic?
Yeah.
Right? If you know if you're the master of all buying media of TV ads, and you know commercials, and you know this, and you know everything about it, that'll do you better than reading 500 books,
right?
Potentially,
right?
So I mean, I have a lot.
No, it's true. It's true. Yeah, the book I'm reading right now is called The Go Giver, something. The Go Giver Expanded Edition. But the Go Giver principle itself is incredible, and it helps a lot with business. And a friend recommended it to me, and I was like, started reading it, and the first like couple sentences, I was like, oh, now I get it. Like
so
this book is the basic fundamental is just like the way there's like variations of this book, like for sales, for business, for this, whatever. But the basic concepts are like, just be a decent human being with any business you're doing, sales, etc. It's based on like relationships and how you treat that person and the care factor that is involved in that. And if you operate and live your life that way, people that you never thought that you would like sell to or offer to or make a service for or whatever, they'll just like you. And then they'll refer like 50 people to you that you've never met and they've never even been your customer. But because you built a good relationship with them and they like you, they know that you're going to deliver a good, whatever. And it's like this totally different way of thinking about business in general. It's very good.
I like that.
It's very good.
It's a good human being. I mean, that's a good principle for
Yeah,
life.
yeah, it is. But I was like, but the way that they give a lot of examples of how like, blah, blah, blah did this, and then they did this, and their sales 100x'd. Just website, sales in person, real estate, realtors, coffee shop owners, you name it, it works every time. And I was like, well, this is neat. Like, this is a neat way to, and like, if you can build that into the culture of a business, like that fundamental way of operating, it just like very much change. It's cool. Anyway.
That's great.
I'm not done reading it,
That's
but
the
it's
first one on your book list that we're expecting
for
this podcast to come out.
Yeah.
And otherwise, any final words you want to share with people who are like, hey, they want to do e-commerce, they don't know where to start, what's the next business, anything, I don't know. Whoever could be listening, what's your final message?
I would say it's a lot easier than you think it is, at least to get things going, to make enough money to be able to quit your job. And then you can really focus all your attention on doing it full time and really like double downing on that as your own life. But once you do it and you have you're your own boss and you have what a lot of people call like fuck you money, like basically you're just like stably your own self, it's very freeing and you can live the life you want and it's much easier than people think. So I would just say like, go for it.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Jackson, thanks for coming, brother.
Yeah, man.